Good evening. Hi, Amanullah, Govinda, Subra. Hi, Kendall. Let's wait for a couple of minutes, guys. Hi, sir. We can start our session.
Hey, hi everyone. Good evening, guys. Very good evening, sir. Good evening. Okay, good then. Okay, good evening, guys. Let's start the session for today. So, in today's session, we are going to start with our AWS Cloud, where as part of our AWS Cloud, we are going to discuss about a service called IAM. So, IAM generally stands for Identity and Access Management. So now, what is this identity access management? What is the main use case of having it? Why we have to have it, and what is the main benefit that we are going to gain out of this service? Everything we will try to see it in today's session, right? See, as of your architecture, guys. So this is how your architecture is going to start with. Okay. So imagine a situation that I am having my AWS cloud account. This is what, guys, this is my AWS cloud account. If you observe carefully, yesterday what we were doing, so we are creating our AWS account where we are supplying our email address and password. So how we are creating our AWS account, guys? So whenever we try to create our AWS account, so what we are giving? We are giving our email ID and then we are giving our password. Now this AWS account is nothing but what? AWS account is nothing but my company. So this AWS account is nothing but my company. Now in this company, I am going to have many people. Like I will be having testers, I will be having my developers, I will be having my QA engineers, I'll be having my system administrators, and I will be having my DevOps engineers. I will have architecture, I will have a network, and I will have a security. What not, guys? I'll be having many people. I'll be having many people. Now if I go ahead and if I start sharing these credentials, imagine like all these people, they also have some work to do. They also plan to do some work. Let's say like a developers, they want to access the AWS. Developers want to log into the servers. Developers wants to deal with some RDS instances. Developers want to deal with some network. Our network team wants to do some sort of a work in the AWS cloud. Now if that is the case, can I go ahead and can I share these credentials with everyone? this email ID and password, is it wise enough to share these credentials with everyone, guys? What do you feel? Any answers? Can I share these credentials with everyone? Let's say like I have a guy from developer, I have a guy from testing, and I have a guy from, let's say like a network, and I have a guy, let's say like from security. So if I'm having all these guys, can I share these credentials? Okay, guys, you are open to go and go ahead and use these credentials and then log into the AWS management console. Can I share it, guys? Okay, so we cannot share these credentials like this. We cannot share the credentials like this. So this is a very practice of sharing the credentials, same credentials with everyone. So the reason is like you will never come to know who is logging in. You will never come to know who is doing what. You will never come to know what is happening in your company. It will be a more chaos environment where we generally don't entertain such kind of a management where we are going to share the same credentials with everyone. So which means like if any developer is logging in, let's say like this developer name is Mahesh. So if Mahesh is logging in, Mahesh should have his own ID and his own password. If testing user is logging in, then he to have his own ID, then he need to have his own password. If network engineer is logging in, then he need to have his own ID, then he need to have his own password. Likewise, if a security guy is going, he going to have his own ID and he to have his own password. So individual users, individual access credentials is required whenever they are planning to log into the AWS account. It is like the same way. Imagine like you guys are joining as part of any company. When you guys join as part of any company, each and every individual user is given their own username, their own password, and their own laptop whenever you are trying to access something in your company, you will be using your credentials. You will not use your CEO credentials, you will not use your team leader credentials, you will not use your colleague credentials to do your day to day work. So every individual is going to have his own access privileges where each and every individual is going to perform his own activity. Now in AWS, if I would like to provide such kind of a facility to the end user, if I go to AWS and if I ask, hey, AWS, I am using your services. Now I am having 100 people who are part of my organization, where these 100 people belongs to different teams. Like few people come from QA, few people come from testing, few people come from infrastructure, few people come from DevOps, few people come from network, few people come from security. I'm having these variety of people. Then how am I going to manage their user administration, their credentials, their passwords, their permissions, their privileges? How am I going to maintain? How am I going to configure? Then what AWS is telling us is like, AWS is telling, if you would like to do such kind of an activity in AWS, then you can go ahead and then you can use a service called IAM, where IAM stands for Identity and Access Management. Whenever you feel like if someone wants to join as part of my company, here my company is nothing but my AWS account. If some user wants to log into my company, some user needs to be part and parcel of my company, then that user has to be onboarded, that user has to be created under a service called IAM, under a service called IAM. If you have any doubts, guys, what is an IAM? Please let me know. We can discuss on this. Okay. No hands raised. Good. So see here, guys. This is my AWS cloud, guys. Basically, AWS cloud is nothing but my company. So I'm going to have my tester. I am going to have my developer. I'm going to have my QA engineer. I'm going to have my system admin. I'm going to have my database admin. I'm going to have my other users. Whenever I feel like I need to create all these different users as part of my AWS account, then I am going to consume a service called IAM. I'm going to consume a service called IAM. Okay, so IAM basically facilitates you to create multiple users and facilitates you to maintain and manage their respective privileges. Okay, now what we are going to do is like we will go ahead and we will see how this IAM is going to work and what sort of things that we are going to have as part of our IAM. So imagine a situation that you guys are joining as part of your project. Let's say like you joined a new organization. Let's say like you joined a new organization. So let's say a new joinee called Ajay. Let's say like we have a new joinee called Ajay. Now, how are we going to onboard Ajay user to our AWS management console? So the same thing that you guys are going to do, guys, when you join as part of any project. Let's say like you join any new company, a new project got assigned to you. Now, what is the onboarding process? How you guys are going to get access? What sort of access privileges that you are going to get? How do you perform your respective activities? All those things we are going to discuss it. So this is how the end-to-end process, guys. As part of our architecture, I will explain each and every bit. So try to understand at any given point of time. If you don't understand anything, feel free to raise your voice or raise your hand so that we can discuss on your doubts. Imagine a situation that I am having a new joinee called Ajay. Ajay is what? Ajay is a new joinee. See here. This is my Ajay user. So what Ajay is doing, guys? Ajay, he wants to perform some activity. Since he have joined newly to the company, obviously he want to do some activity. So what Ajay is going to do, he will be using a ticketing tool. He is using a ticketing tool called ServiceNow, or he will be using a Jira story. He will create a Jira story or a Jira task, and then he is going to assign this request to work or this respective to the DevOps team. So as part of your company, you're going to have your DevOps team who is going to handle this entire cloud platform. Okay. Now, in my case, who is the user? User is a DevOps. So this John is a DevOps user who is going to fulfill this entire requirement. So Ajay is a new user who is requesting John to provide him AWS account access. So John is requesting, sorry, Ajay is requesting to John to have an AWS account access. Now, John, what he will do? He will log into the AWS account and he is going to choose a service called IAM. After he selected the IAM service, he is going to select an option called users. After he selected the user option, he is going to click on a button called create a user. Now he is going to generate a username and he will generate the temporary password for Ajay user, where where John user he will go and he will share Ajay user ID, Ajay password, and these credentials should be shared in private with Ajay. These credentials will be shared with Ajay in private, like in an encoded format or over a secret email he will be sending, or he will be pinging in him one to one, or he will divide the password into two halves. One half he will send it to the email address, and second half he will be sending to his mobile number, or second half he is going to send it via Teams. So in a secure way, we are going to send the credentials to the user. Okay, guys, you are going to get architecture diagrams like this for each and every topic, for each and every concept. You will be getting the architecture diagrams, because our ultimate goal out of this entire course is like, to get a real-time job. When you go to any realistic project, right, you will be given an architecture diagram and you will be asked to implement the entire workflow. So that point of time you should not face any difficulty. So hence, starting from day one, our entire course is going to go in an architectural flow, right, where you don't need to worry. Each and every task I have given you the proper numbering, 1 2 3 4 5 6, where you can follow the flow to complete your entire workflow. Okay, so this is the entire workflow, guys, that which we are going to do in order to create or in order to onboard our user called Ajay user, right? See, now what we are going to do, we will share the credentials with Ajay user. We will share the credentials with Ajay user. The moment I share the credentials with Ajay user, what am I going to do? Ajay user, what he will do, he will go ahead and he will use his user ID and he will use his password, and then he will try to log into the AWS management console. He will go ahead and he will try to access the AWS account and he will try to log in with his user ID and password. So till 7 tasks we will try to do, and then we will come back and then we will learn something out of this. So this is how your user onboarding is going to happen in your AWS. Now if anyone have any doubts, guys, please do let me know so that we can discuss on that. Any doubts or any concerns, guys, from anyone? Is the concept is clear what we are going to do?
So I'm just trying to understand. I mean, you might talk in future about Azure also, since you say.
Yes, of
So
course. Azure,
yeah, but
we will
I just
talk
want to
later.
understand. Yeah, just for the sake of comparative study, I'm just asking. So Azure has like various mechanisms of authorization, right? They have AWS. There is something called. I mean, there are various AWS, and I mean, I think some other things, if I remember correctly. I'm not able to get it. Okay,
Okay.
but
See,
Amazon,
let me
it
tell
looks.
you, let me tell
Uh,
you one thing, Mohan, right?
mhm.
See, so whatever the flow that which I am going to teach you, right? If you can follow that flow, then the way how you're going to learn and compare the things would be easy for you, right? See, now if I'm introducing the different terminology in a different subject, so it is going to create a more confusion, not only for you, for all the audience. So it's better like first we will stick with one cloud. We will learn whatever the components that this cloud is facilitating us to learn DevOps, and then we will move on to the second cloud. When I take the second cloud, then it makes sense to compare with the first one which you have already learned. Now if I am discussing about Azure, where you guys are not familiar with that cloud and you are not familiar with this cloud, then it is going to create a small confusion among audience. So what I recommend you is like you stick with the class, you just stick with the content of AWS, but when we go to Azure, then we start comparing it with the AWS, because once we go to Azure, you will be completing your AWS. Are we good on this, Mohan? Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, great. So guys, see here. Now, what are we going
Sorry,
to do?
sorry, I was
Uh,
speaking on mute. Is it okay if I can?
Mohan.
I understood what you said because I'm just trying to understand. We have the similarly like AWB2C, AWB2B, RBAC, all of those things are there in thing, right? So all of those things would come part of even AWS. I mean, even in AWS cloud also, right? Part of IAM
Yes,
services.
you're
I'm
absolutely.
just trying to
You're
understand.
absolutely. Yes. You're right, Mohan. You will be getting it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So guys, now we need to understand one small difference. Difference between your versus, or I will say like a root user versus admin user. We need to understand the difference between root user versus admin user. Root user is the one which you have created your AWS account where you are giving your email ID whereas admin user is an IAM user, but he is given administrator access or administrator privileges,
Hello. Sir, what is IAM user?
which means sorry, Amanullah,
Sir, what is IAM user, sir?
user is there, right? Ajay user we are going to create, right? He is an IAM user. That is what I'm trying to differentiate. Okay, let me complete the concept. Okay, so see here. So now we have two categories of users, guys. So one is our root user and the second one is our IAM user. Under the IAM user, I have a category called administrator user, which means manager. Your manager is going to hold your email ID and the password related information. But if my manager is holding this information, I have to work, right? I have to work. My team have to work. So now I means my DevOps team. So now my DevOps team is going to be called as administrators. So for all these guys, we will be giving a privilege called administrator privileges. We will be giving a privilege called administrator privileges. But all the users are IAM users only. All the users are IAM users only. Only your manager is going to be a root user. Apart from your root user, all the other users in the account are going to be called as IAM users. Right? So now what are we going to do is like, we will go ahead and we will try to create our Ajay user. So now my Ajay user is what? Ajay user is a normal IAM user. So now I got a request. So here, whenever I say like I am what? I am a DevOps engineer. I'm a DevOps engineer. Now what am I going to do? I will go ahead and I will log into the AWS management console. This is what? This is my AWS management console. In this AWS management console, I will be searching for a option called IAM. Now, once you search for IAM, you will be getting a drop down called IAM selected. You will be getting an option called IAM, which you guys can select it. Now, once I select the IAM here, once I select the IAM here, on the left hand side, I have an option called users. On the left hand side, I have an option called users. Now, what I will do is like, I will go and I will select users. Now, I will go and I will create a user. See here, guys, I have a button. What is the button here? The button is create a user. I will go and I will create a user. Now, what is this user? I will say KSR Ajay. KSR Ajay user. Now, this user needs to have my AWS management console access. So aws.amazon.com, what it is my console. It is my company. So for this company, I am creating a user where I'm going to provide permissions for him. Now I will go ahead and I will say like a provide user access to the AWS management console. This is my KSR Ajay user. So this Ajay user needs to have AWS management console access. I will go and I will say like, okay, what kind of a user is this? I'm going to select this user as a IAM user. He's what? He's an IAM user. Now it is going to ask, okay, boss, what is the password? What is the password? I will say like a custom password. I will say like a Ajay@1234. I'm going to set a password Ajay@1234. Okay. Now there is an option here, guys. User must create a new password at the next sign in. So what is the meaning of this one? What is the meaning of this one? The meaning is quite simple. When Ajay user is logging in for the first time, when Ajay user log in, it will enforce Ajay user to change his first password. When Ajay user is logging in, it will enforce Ajay user to change his password. Now what I'll do, I'll go ahead and I'll click on next. It is telling me what must be at least a 10 character length. Okay, that's fine. So I will go ahead and I will say like, so I'll click on next. So now at this point of time, I'm not going to select any of these options, guys, but we will explore most probably in 2-3 minutes. Now my concentration is to only create an user. My concentration is only to create an user. Who is the user, guys, that we are creating? We are creating a user called a KSR Ajay user. So username is what? Username is KSR Ajay user. Okay, so now I have set the password. So what is the password that I have set? I have set a password like a KSR Ajay @123 4. This is the password I have set. Now I will go ahead and I will set a next. Now I will go ahead and I'll click on create a user. Now if you go to the architecture, what did I do? I got a request from Ajay to create his user ID. This is me. I logged into the AWS management console. I went to the AWS account. I selected the IAM service. I selected the users button. I selected the create users and I have created the user. Now I'm going to share the credentials with my Ajay user. Now I'm going to share the credentials with my Ajay user. What are the credentials, guys? These are all the credentials that I'm going to share. These are all the credentials that I'm going to share. Okay. Now I have shared these credentials with my Ajay user. Now what my Ajay user will do? He needs to log in. He needs to log in. Okay. So now what he will do? Let me take a private window. Click on these three dots, and you will be getting a button called a new incognito window. Click on that. Now you will be landing onto a incognito window where my Ajay user will try to log in aws.ms.com. Now what I will do, in the sense Ajay user, what he's going to do, he will go ahead and he will click on this sign in button. Now whenever he try to sign in into the Azure, into the AWS account, what is happening here? Here he is asking me, boss, you would like to log in as a root user email address, or you are planning to log in as an IAM user? What kind of a user Ajay is, guys? Is he an IAM user or is he a root user?
IAM.
Good. So he is an IAM user. He is an IAM user. But if your manager is logging in, then with what credentials he will log in?
Root.
Good. So he will log in as a root user. He will log in as a root user. Okay, nice. So now who is the user? User is Ajay. He will go ahead and he will give the username as a KSR Ajay. Now here I am having a concept called account ID. Here I am having a username and here I am having a password. But what are the details that I have shared with Ajay user? The details I have shared is username and password. What is missing here? Missing component is account ID. Now what is this account ID? What is this account ID? Okay. Imagine like I'm having different companies. Let's say like I have Wipro.com, I have HCL.com. Now I have two employees. Let's say like these two employee name is, this guy name is Ajay and this guy name is also Ajay. Can I have two different employees of two different companies with the same name? Is this combination possible, guys?
Yeah, it is.
Good. So now I want to refer to the guy who is working in HCL. So how I can refer him? I want to call Ajay who is working in HCL. How I can refer him, guys?
You probably need to give my unique username.
Good. So I can simply give Ajay@hcl.com and I can give Ajay@ Wipro.com, right? Yes or
Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
So which means like whenever I'm referring to a person, what I need to refer? I need to refer his a company as well. I need to refer his a company as well. But in our case, what is our company, guys? Our company is AWS account. Our company is what? AWS account, which means this is, let's say, like a Francis. So Francis is having his own AWS account. Okay, let's say like a Mohan. Mohan is having his own AWS account. Everyone is having their own AWS account. Then how are you going to differentiate between this AWS account with this AWS account? Important interview question, guys. In an interview panel, people will ask you, can you please tell me how many digits that you have in your AWS account? Can you tell me how many digits that you have in your AWS account? Each and every AWS account is going to a unique 12-digit code. Every AWS account to a 12-digit unique code. 12-digit unique code. So now where do we get this unique code? Whenever you log into your AWS account, on the right hand side, on the right corner, you see a concept or you see a option called account ID. You see a option called account ID. So in my case, my account ID is 619071338798. So now whenever I'm creating any IAM user, along with his user, along with his password, I need to pass the account ID as well. This is the account ID. Now what my Ajay is going to do, Ajay will go ahead and he will start giving his account ID. This is the account ID. Username is KSR Ajay and the password is Ajay at 1234 and click on sign. Okay guys, I think like I screwed the password. Just give me one moment. Okay, so let me reset the password, guys. If you feel like, if you would like to reset the password of an end user, if you would like to reset the password of an end user, what you can do is like you can go ahead and you can select the users. Under the users, you can select the username. Under the username, you have an option called security credentials. Under the security credentials, if you scroll it down, you have an option called a console sign in. You have an option called console sign in. Under the console sign in, you get an option called management or manage a console access. I will say like a password reset. I'll say custom password, or you can select the auto generate. So user must create a new password in the next sign in. I will say like a reset password. So now this is the new password, guys. I'll go ahead and I will copy paste the password. Okay, so now what did we do? We just reset the password for the Ajay user. So now what Ajay will do, Ajay will try to log in. KSR Ajay is there and his a pass. What is a password? This is the temporary password. Go and paste the password here. Click on sign. Let me remove these things, guys. So don't give hyphens, guys. Don't give hyphens in the account ID. Just give 12-digit account number directly. So now it is asking me the old password. I'll give the old password. Now I will give the new password. I'll click on confirm password change. Account policy. Okay, fine. So click on confirm password change. Okay, so now password change is successful, guys. Now my user Ajay is going to log in. Click on continue to the sign in. Once you click on continue to the sign in, what it will take me to the page login. Now identify who have logged in. So on the right side, right corner, right hand, be getting an option like what is the user that have logged. In my case, my username is a KSR Ajay. So who have logged in to an account called 6190-733-8798. Okay. So now we have successfully created our user called Ajay. Now what Ajay have done, Ajay went ahead and he tried to log into the AWS management console. Any doubts, guys? Any doubts or any queries from anyone? Okay, no doubts. Okay, good then. So now AWS is a cloud provider, guys. So here
One
what is
question.
happening? Yeah, tell me, sir.
I know you usually when we send username and password, we send it in separate emails. All that is can be configured part of this, right? Whatever. When you are creating user ID and password, the overall flow.
Mhm.
So they are sent in two separate email IDs or different mechanisms for security reasons, right? In our org,
Yes,
I think
of course.
in our org, half of the password is sent to manager and half of the password is sent to actual user or something like that. So we can configure all
Yes.
such security stuff depending on
Yes, of
scenario.
course. Once you join an organization, you can do that stuff, sir. It's possible. That is how, like I mentioned earlier, right, in the conversation. This is how generally we share it. Half of the password via Teams you can send it, and half of the password via email you can send it. But the username you can send it anyhow. It's not a big deal. Password is important. But on top of that, we added one more security here, right? See that user when he tried to log in, that password whatever he is using, it is not going to be the permanent password. It's a temporary password. So that's the reason when I try to log in, what it is doing, it is enforcing me to change the password.
Right.
Good. So now we are creating our Ajay user in what? In the AWS account. So AWS is basically a cloud provider, guys, which means like AWS is going to provide me multiple services like EC2, S3, RDS, VPC, and then load balancers, and then Lambda, and then Route 53, whatnot. Many services your cloud, almost like 100 plus services AWS will provide. Now, I created a user called KSR Ajay. Now this user have already logged into the AWS account. In that AWS account, now Ajay go ahead and can he try to create RDS? Can he try to create a server? Is it possible, guys? Is Ajay
No,
user is allowed to create these resources?
no yet.
No, not at. Thanks, Francis. Thank you so much. So now if you see here, guys, who is this? This is my KSR Ajay user. Now when this guy go and when he search for an EC2, let's say like he's getting a drop down, he feels like yes, EC2 is working for me. What he will do, he will go and he will select. When Ajay user go and when he try to select an EC2, what is happening? What is happening when he click on the instances? So he started facing issues like you are not authorized to perform this operation. Please go and check with your administrator. Likewise, Ajay will go and Ajay will search for another service. Let's say like maybe EC2 is not working, some other service will work. He will go and he will test for S3. So now here also he started getting access denied. Here also he started getting access denied. So literally what did we do, guys? We just created a dummy user. We just created a dummy user, but this user is not going to have any permissions. Now let's see the architecture. Now what is happening? Ajay user, he got the user ID and password using which he will go and he will try to log into the AWS management console. He logged in successfully. After this guy have logged into the account successfully, what did he tried? He went ahead and he tried to access the S3 and he tried to access the EC2. So verify the access for the services like S3 and EC2. But what he came to know, like there is no access given. There is no access given. So I cannot create anything. He realized that he can't do anything. Now that moment, what he will do? He will go and he will check with John, that is my DevOps engineer, and he will ask, hey man, what happened, man? I raised an access for the user creation. You created the user, but you didn't give me the privilege. You didn't give me the privilege. Now, when this guy have raised the access, that point of time, for what he have raised, he have raised the ticket for what? For only account creation. So hence, what John did, John created only account. But this time, what he's telling me, this time he's coming and he's telling me like, hey, I try to access a service called EC2 and I try to access a service called S3, but I don't have access, man. What should I do? So in AWS is going to provide 100 plus services, guys. It doesn't mean that for each and every user, I will enable the privileges for all the 100 services. It's not required. Whatever the services that user should have access to, only those services we will enable the privilege. Now this guy is telling me that okay man, I need to have access for S3 and I need to have access for EC2. Now let me tell you what is this EC2 and EC2. Guys, in the future classes we will discuss in depth about your EC2 and ES3, but you need to know what is this EC2 and ES3 services so that you can correlate in your IAM. Generally, whenever I want to have any server, means whenever I want to have an operating system which is going to have a CPU, which will have a memory, and which is going to have a disk, that we call it as a server. In other terms, we call it as a laptop. But the major difference between a laptop and a server is laptop will be up and running max to max for 7 days, whereas a server can run up to 365 days. Whenever in AWS, if I want to have a server which is going to have OS, CPU, memory, and a hard disk, if I go and if I ask AWS, hey, AWS, give me a server, AWS is telling me, hey, you can use a service called EC2. So using EC2, what you guys can do, you can create servers. Now, likewise, we all are familiar with Google Drive. Can anyone tell me, guys, why do you use Google Drive? Rahul, Venkat, Amanullah, Sandhil, Sarita, all you guys are active or passive?
Storing data.
For storing images.
Good. So are we going to store only images?
It's like
Store files.
it's like an external hard disk. Okay. Usually,
Storing
if
data.
we have any can store everything. Okay, files and all the data. Okay.
Good. Imagine like I am having my laptop. This is my laptop. My laptop is having a disk, right? I can store the data in my laptop, but why I have to store the data in Google Drive?
So if we save in our internal hard disk, okay, sometimes it suddenly it will crash to do some reasons. Okay, if we keep in cloud, it will be safe. That's the reason. Okay, we will keep in, and it will be easy to share. Okay, so if you need to share
Very
to
nice.
somebody, yeah, we
It
can
is
use to share.
what? It is easy to access anytime, anywhere. What are the different operations that we are going to perform? We read the data, we upload the data, we modify the data, we delete the data, we share the data, and so on. These all are what? These all are operations that which we perform on Google Drive. Now, Google Drive is coming from a company called Google. Google Drive is coming from a company called Google. Now, whenever you feel like you need to have the concept of a Google Drive in AWS, AWS is selling a service called S3. Whatever you perform in Google Drive, same thing you perform in S3. Like reading, writing, object uploads. Object in the sense like you can upload photos, you can upload documents, you can upload PDFs, you can upload videos, you can upload songs, you can upload your JPEGs, you can upload your log files, you can upload your database dumps, whatnot. Everything you can upload it to the S3. The way how you are performing in your Google Drive, same way you are going to perform in an S3. Guys, this is just a glance view I'm giving you, right? So don't worry. When we proceed further in the future classes, I'll explain you in depth that what is S3, what is EC2, why do we need it, what is the essentials that we need to know about things. Everything in depth we will cover. But in order to make you guys to understand the IAM service, I'm just giving you a glance view. So EC2 is a service which will give me a server. S3 is a service which will give me a storage where I can store objects. For comparison purpose, you can compare a server as to your laptop. For comparison purpose, you can compare S3 to your Google Drive. Same thing, whatever your laptop do, your server also do it. Same thing, whatever your Google Drive does, your S3 also do the same thing. Only thing is vendors are different. Google Drive is coming from Google company. S3 is coming from AWS. Okay. Now, what Ajay is asking me, hey man, I don't have access, man. I don't have access. On what he don't have access? He don't have access to S3. He don't have access to EC2. Now, in general, in general, whenever we are dealing with a word called a permissions, what are the items, guys, that we are going to get? We get read, we get write, we get delete, we get modify, and so on. All these all are what? All these all are my permissions. Generic terminology, guys. Wherever you go, whenever you want to discuss, these are all what? These are all my permissions that which I am going to have it. Now, these permissions, I'm going to have different services like EC2, like S3, like VPC, like RDS, and so on. And what? And so on. So these all are what? These are all the different services that am I going to have as part of my AWS cloud. Which means I am going to have read, write, execute, delete, modify with regards to S3. I'm going to have read, write, execute, delete, modify with regards to EC2. I'm going to have a read, write, delete, modify with regards to VPC. And I'm going to have a read, write, delete, modify with regards to RDS and so on. Now, what AWS is telling you is like, whenever you would like to club the permissions for a single service or the permissions for a group of services, all these things, what we call, guys, we call them as services. So we call it as a policy. Now, what is a policy? A policy is a group of permissions assigned to a single service or a group of services. What is a policy? A policy is nothing but a group of permissions, which we are going to assign it to a single service or a group of services. Together, we call it as policy. Guys, everyone is a policy word is clear. What is exactly a policy? Why do we need a policy? Any doubts? If you have any doubts, you can ask me now. Okay. If no doubts, let's see here, guys. So your policy is classified into two types. Your policy is classified into two types. What are they? One is AWS managed policy. Second one is user managed policy. Policies are classified into two types. One is AWS managed policies. Second one is user managed policies. Now, whenever AWS is launching any service, like AWS is launching S3 service, what AWS will do? AWS will create read policy. AWS will create admin policy. AWS will create some XYZ policy with regards to what? With regards to S3. Now, whenever AWS is launching, let's say like a new service called RDS. So with regards to RDS, what AWS will do? They will create read-only policy, or they will create administrator policy. Now, since AWS is providing these policies, you cannot modify them. Since AWS is providing these policies, it is maintained, managed by AWS. The only thing what you can do is you can read or you can consume them, but you cannot modify them. Whatever AWS is providing, you cannot modify. You just can use them. That's it. So like this, AWS, whatever the services that they are providing, for each and every service, you are going to have default policies. Almost like 1793 to 1900 policies you will be having in your AWS management console. Because AWS is providing multiple services, right? They provide ECS, they provide ECR, they provide EKS, they provide EC2, they provide RDS, they provide S3, they provide firewalls, they provide network, they provide load balancers, they provide data, they provide EPS, they provide AMIs, whatnot. If I start talking, I can talk next 10-15 minutes. Those many services these guys are providing. For each and every service, these guys they have to provide the default policies. Now, overall, if you see, you are going to have around 1700 to 1900 default policies provided by AWS. Now, based upon your use case, you can use them. Otherwise, go and create your own user managed policies. User managed policies are created by us based upon our need, our requirement. We can create our own policies. So, hope the concept of policy is clear with everyone. If it is not clear, please do let me know. I can explain once again for you.
Yeah, please, are we going to have these slides?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'll be sharing on daily basis. Whatever I'm copying, right? So you're going to have, see, with regards to your learning, you are going to have these architecture diagrams. You are going to have the logs, whatever I'm writing down. You're going to have your material. You are going to have your commands, whatever we are going to type. Everything you are going to get on a daily basis.
Okay. It's
With
my
the
first
proper
time
date and the
joining.
topic, I will share it with you.
Okay. It's my first time joining, so I think I missed the
No
previous
problem. No problem,
sessions.
Francis. Yeah. Because previously I didn't took any sessions. Okay, this is the first session. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for asking. Okay, it clarifies for everyone. Okay. So now see here, guys. Now what is the problem? Problem is like my Ajay user. What he did, he came back to me and he started telling me, "Hey, I don't have access for EC2, man. I don't have access for S3. Can you give me the access?" Now I will ask him exactly, hey, tell me exactly, are you really sure that you want these services access? Then he is clarifying me, saying that yes, of course, I need to have access for EC2 and S3. Now what I will do, I will go ahead and I will try to assign the policies to Ajay user for EC2 and S3. For what? For EC2 and S3. How are we going to assign the permissions for a user? So now I will go ahead and I will click on users. And I will search for my user called KSR Ajay. Under the permission tabs, if you see, under the permissions policies tab, if you see, this user is not having any policies. Now on the right hand side, you have an option called add a permission. Click on that and you click on add permissions button. There is a button called add permissions. Click on that. Now under which I will go ahead and I will search for attach policies directly. There is an option here on the right hand side, attach policies directly. Now come down, you see here 1370 policies are there. Overall 1370 policies are there. Okay, this number, let me correct it guys. This number I have given a wrong number. So this is what, around like a 1300 policies. All these all are what? We are managing it or AWS is managing, guys?
AWS.
Who is managing it? Good. AWS is managing it. Who is managing? AWS is managing it. So now how do we identify? Here you can see the type. You see here type. Under the type column, AWS managed, AWS managed, AWS managed, AWS managed, AWS managed, AWS managed. Everything is managed by AWS. But we can create our own that we will see in the future classes. In this, what the privileges that this guy is asking? He's asking for S3, search for S3. Now under the S3, what this guy is telling, he's telling, hey, I provided default policies man for a read only, for a full access, for something like Redshift, for something like S3 storage, outputs read only, some lens. So whatever is required he created, but out of which I am going to give full privileges to S3 service. Amazon S3 full access I am going to give. Now what is the other permission, guys? He's asking for EC2, search for EC2. Now under the EC2 I got Amazon EC2 full access. I will select this one as well. So two policies I am selecting. One is EC2 and second one is S3. Come down, click on next. Once you click on next, what do you have? You have Amazon S3 full access. You have Amazon EC2 full access. Click on add permissions. Now for my user, who is this user? KSR Ajay user. What are the permissions he got? He got a permissions of Amazon EC2 full access and he got a permissions of Amazon S3 full access. Now earlier when Ajay user try to use these services like EC2 and S3, he was getting error. Now let's see whether he is getting the error or not. So let's go back to the incognito window where KSR Ajay user have logged in. Who is this user? KSR Ajay user. Now earlier he was getting access denied permission. Now what I will do, I will just refresh this page. There is a refresh button here. There is a refresh button here. You see, this is the refresh button. I will just click on that. Now the moment he click on the refresh button, it is still throwing me the access denied only. Now what I can do is like just reload the main page. If you're still getting the access denied, just reload the main page, guys. That's okay. So go here and then select the general purpose directory. Now when you click on your general purpose buckets, what is happening, guys? This guy can able to see, he can able to see all the S3 buckets that got created in this region or in this service. Whatever the S3 buckets are there, everything he can able to see. Likewise, he will go and he will select for EC2. He will go and he will search and select the EC2. Now, whenever he go and he search for an EC2 under the instances tab, if you go, earlier he used to get a message like, no man, you don't have a permissions. But right now what it is telling me, it's telling me there are no servers available in this region for you. It clearly says a message like, man, you don't have any instances running. It is not telling you don't have a permission. It is telling like there are no servers. But I have a couple of servers running in Oregon. This is Oregon region. Let me switch to Oregon region. If I switch to Oregon region, now under the Oregon region, he should able to see the servers. See here, there is a server called a Jenkins server. This is my pet server, guys. I was just doing some testing. That server is there. Now, who can see? Ajay user can see. What he can see? He can see servers. But earlier, it was throwing some error. But now, there is no error. There is no error, right? Guys, this is the way how we are going to create our user and how we are going to assign the privileges to our user. Okay. In tomorrow's class, we will discuss a little bit deep, like how are we going to work with the custom policy, how do we create a custom policy, how do we provide a granular level of access to the users, how do we maintain, how do we manage, all those things we will try to understand in tomorrow's class. If you guys have any doubts, please stay back and clear your doubts. Otherwise, we are good to go for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you.
Hello.
Sir, can I ask?
1 second, Mohan. Yeah, Amanullah, go ahead, please.
Sir, I tried to make AWS account,
Mhm.
but it asks identify yourself
Okay.
with the help of driving license or PAN card.
Okay. You upload any license proof that you have,
No, sir.
like PAN card or license or
No.
current bill or power bill, something, some proof you should be having, Amanullah. You don't have anything with you?
Yes, I have. I have
If you have,
driving
upload it.
license.
Upload it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, Mohan, tell me, Mohan.
Yeah, I mean, while trying to create policies or privileges, I know right now whatever Amazon offers, right, in terms of access or roles, uh, it is not restricted by region level or right. So if you want to restrict at the region level and all of that, we have to do it using custom, or even Amazon already offers such kind of scenarios.
We don't generally restrict at a particular region. Permission is a permission.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the reason is like when in our scenario, right, we have business across all the 4 regions, but usually APAC region won't access EMEA region won't access. That's how it is. That is the reason. I mean, taking the business case in mind, I was just trying to understand for that scenarios, we need to have a custom policies to be created, right? It cannot be
Yes.
accommodated through.
You are right. You are right. In such cases, right, if you are very niche about, a particular region, generally what we generally do is like, we always go with the custom policies because it's always a custom requirement, right? And moreover, here, one thing that we need to keep it in mind is like, we generally don't entertain users to create the infrastructure. So the user creation or the infrastructure maintenance will be with the infrastructure team only. Like the business people or your testers or QAs, they will be given only read-only access.
Right.
Only read-only
Okay.
privileges will be given.
Yeah, I totally agree. One other, like while you are creating when you are providing the full access, right? So if I want to see what does full access mean and all of that, so you just need to
Yeah,
click on it and then see it.
yeah, I
And
will show that. No problem.
when you are giving that access to EC2 or something, somewhere it's showed you have access to 2 entities. Does that mean in all your Amazon accounts of this account, it has 2 entities which are running, 2 EC2 accounts are running? Is that what it is trying to say? When you are
Where
giving that, when you gave full access, right? There I saw EC2 full access. It's somewhere it said 2 entities, not here. It is like post giving access. When you are actually granting access, It showed me.
Let me reiterate it. Okay, let me delete these things. Add permissions. Attach policies. Select EC2. Okay, this one. I'll say S3. This one. Tell me. These are all the two permissions that I'm going to assign. Where you got that one, Mohan? If I click on add permissions, now these permissions will be given to the user.
So when you are doing this Amazon EC2 full access, right? It showed that there is attached 2 and 3 entities. When you are doing, can you do it once again back? Yeah. Here, right? When you say administrator, okay, just yeah. If you look at administrator access, it says attached entities 10. What does this mean? Yeah.
This means like what and all the users are attached.
Okay.
See, in this account, this is my account. This is my account. It's a paid account. I'm paying money for this, right? So where I'll be using for the sessions. So I have many users created. Like during the session times, I'll be creating multiple users, right? Who are the attached entities? Attached entity in the sense like for this particular privilege, okay, who are and all the users are attached. Let's say like I'll search for S3, right? S3 is being attached to the 5. Means like I'm having different users, automation users, SNS alert, row, and then Ajay user, and then I'm having couple of roles that are assigned. So it's just like to whom that this privilege is given.
Okay. All the resources. This includes users or resources to which. Okay. Yeah.
Whenever we talk about IAM, it is always users or groups.
Sure.
Okay, Mohan. Cool. Fine, guys. If no doubts, I think we are good to go. Have a great day, guys. Bye bye.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Satish. Tell me, Satish.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Hi, team. This is Satish from KSR Datavizon. And today is the last free session. From tomorrow, we are starting paid classes. Then, who are interested to enrolling for this, please contact our team. Okay, they will guide you. Okay.
How much is the session
For
this?
For this course?
Yeah.
Yeah. One-time payment is 25,000, and 2 installments is 26,000. 3 installments is 27,000, sir. As per Indian currency, like INR.
Okay. How about in dollars?
Yeah.
In dollars.
So if you are doing a one-time payment, okay.
Yeah.
So dollars to INR, if I do it, so it comes. So it comes around $300 for you.
Okay.
Okay, and it's a 4 months course.
Okay, and this covers AWS, Azure, and Google.
We are not covering Google, but we will be covering end-to-end DevOps. So we will be covering you AWS, we'll be covering you open source DevOps, we will cover Azure, and we will cover entire Azure DevOps architectures.
Okay, will it cover things like Terraform
Yes.
and the rest?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I will be covering your Terraform, Ansible, Kubernetes, Dockers, Git, Jenkins, CI/CD, Agile process, your day-to-day work, your projects. So it includes everything, Francis.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Appreciate that.
Yeah, okay. So where you don't need to go. See, after you complete this course, you don't need to go and learn something else. It's a combined whole DevOps as a package you are going to get in this course.
What's the duration of the course?
Duration is around 4 to 4.5 months, sir. 4 to 4.5 months.
Okay, I'll be joining. All right, sounds good.
Okay, thanks, Satish. Thank you so much, guys. I think like what Satish want to stress it out is like.
Okay.
So we.
Yeah, if you have guys any
have...
queries. Yeah. Sorry, Shyam.
Satish, go ahead, Satish.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, team. Have any queries? Please take my number and please reach out our team as well. And please note my number as 895178 895123.
Can you go over
Okay.
that?
Can you come again, Satish?
8951
Okay.
78
Mm-hmm.
51
Mm-hmm.
23.
2, 3. Okay, please add country code 91, guys.
Okay. Thank
Plus
you,
91.
Satish.
Yeah, hi Shan, this is Gayatri Shan.
Yeah, Gayatri, please tell me.
Yeah, I have a doubt in AWS account creation, Shan.
Mm-hmm. Tell me.
Yeah, already I have 2 years back I have AWS account, but now it is not there. Like I have closed the account, but now I'm not able to log in. Do I need to create any new account, other email ID, or same I can do?
So it's always recommended to create everything new, madam. Means you need to use new email address, new debit card, new credentials, and then new username and new password.
Yeah, I
Okay,
thought
Gayatri.
to do like already I have account right that, but I tried its authentication failed. I'm getting that's why I asked Shan.
No, even if it is a authentication failed, AWS free tier will be for only 1 year.
Okay.
Okay, beyond 1 year, it won't be considered as a free tier account. It will be a paid account. So which is not required because AWS is very nice compared to Azure. AWS is very nice. So where you can go ahead and you can create a one more account, but provide the new things. Like I mentioned, debit card, email address, and then the address, all the other individual things. Please give new things so that you will get an account immediately.
Okay.
Okay. Great, madam. Great. Good.
Thanks, Shan.
Okay, madam. Okay. Okay, guys. Then thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.